in the what's new. You can click on and see more details, and usually some screenshots to step you through what the enhancement is. I'm not going to step through and read all of this in the what's new. I will just go into showing the same thing in the demo. So I'm going to jump over to AGRIS. And what this means is when you have a contract form, I'm going to my contract forms maintenance, and you have a contract form that is set up to print a separate form for each delivery / price schedule. So this is a yes/no option on the form. So some contract forms, you can list all the price schedules on one form, or you can print a separate page for each individual price schedule. If you've got it set up yes to print a schedule for each individual one, then the enhancement is this. When you're in contract maintenance and you're adding or editing a contract, and you have multiple price schedules like this one, and you do some editing, let's say I go into contract schedule 5 and I do some editing and I want to reprint that one price schedule. So when I save exit and it comes up and asks for which contract form you want to use, this is the enhancement right here. It'll allow you to specify the exact price schedule or range of price schedules that you want to print. Prior to this enhancement, it would have printed each one of those 12 schedules one at a time, and you could then throw away 11 of them or print to screen 11 of them and print to printer just the one you wanted. But now you can specify just the one price schedule and print just that one price schedule. So that is that enhancement. While I'm in here in edit contracts, I'm going to jump to a second enhancement, which is the go button. So the go button has been added to add and edit contracts as well. If everybody's familiar with what the go button is, it allows you, when you're in the context of working with a customer or working with a location, so 4 different pieces of information: the location, purchase, sales, customer, and commodity. Those 4 different combinations. As you're working with that, the go button allows you to navigate through all these different menu options and still maintain the focus of the location, purchase, sales, customer, and commodity. So if I went to produce a settlement, it still maintains and knows what my commodity, customer, location, purchase, sales is. And I could go back to edit contracts. So this option M is now a new option on the list of the go buttons. So I finished producing a settlement or looking in customer status inquiry or whatever, and I can always go to edit a contract, and it already knows what my customer is. So if I press enter, it'll give me my list of contracts for that one customer. So again, it keeps you in context for those 4 fields. You can also, at the end of edit contracts or add contracts, you can click this name address button and immediately be in the editing of name address for that specific customer. And when you get out of that, it brings you right back to edit contracts. So in summary, option A through L has been here prior to 21.1. Option M is now available for the go button throughout the entire system for edit contracts. I go back over to our conference article. That's the second bullet here. Contract, edit contracts, the go button at the end of edit contracts for along with all the other go button options. All right, jumping to the next one. Apply tickets from storage. Ability to reapply existing open storage, delayed price, and grain bank tickets. I'll explain this a little bit and then I'll jump into the demo. So everybody is very familiar with our apply from hold process. So you have tickets that are not yet on a delivery sheet, they're on hold, and you can apply from hold and apply those tickets to open storage, DP, grain bank, spot contract, apply it to existing contract, etc. But this new enhancement is is say you have tickets that have been applied to open storage, delayed price, or grain bank, and they're still not on a delivery sheet. So they're tickets that are out there on open storage, DP, and grain bank. Let's say you made a mistake or the customer changed their mind. They don't want it in open storage. Instead of open storage, they wanted to put it on DP. The process prior to 21.1, as you probably know, you would have to reverse that ticket from hold and then go apply from hold and reapply it from hold to DP. So the enhancement now in 21.1 is skipping all those steps. If you have a ticket in open storage, you can immediately apply from open storage on the ticket and apply it to DP, grain bank, or spot, or existing contracts. So just in the same way that you can apply from hold, you can apply from open storage, DP, and grain bank. I'll show that. Shipments. This menu option right here used to say apply tickets from hold. Now this menu option says apply tickets because we have a new menu option 5. The first 4 menu options are the same as prior to 21.1, apply tickets from hold one at a time. But now you can also apply from storage 1 ticket at a time. And it works exactly the same way as option number 1, except these are for storage tickets. Option 1 is for on hold tickets. So I take option number 5. Again, you can see DP, grain bank, open storage. I want to apply from open storage for this commodity, for this customer. It looks exactly like apply from hold, except this one additional field is up here to specify what storage category. And then it'll find the tickets, the tickets that are on hold and ask you, is this one you want to apply? Yes or no? You can skip it or go to the next one. I can say, yes, I want to apply this ticket from open storage. And you get all the same options as if you're applying from hold. You can apply to a contract, spot contract, put it back in open storage, DP, grain bank, put it on hold. You can actually apply and settle all at the same time. So you can apply from open storage, apply it to a contract and settle it all in one step, and then apply the next one to a contract and settle it. So all the options you have from apply from hold, you have from apply from open storage, DP, and grain bank. And you don't have to reverse the ticket back to hold in order to do that. So I believe that's everything about that enhancement. Let me just double check if this says anything more. And there is a new security option that controls that. So at first, when you come in here, there'll probably be an asterisk here. It'll show you 1 through 4. It might have an asterisk, but in security, you can turn that option on. And that's it. Okay, if I go to the next one. Okay, applied. This is also related to apply from storage. The one we just talked about was applying from storage on the ticket level. This is an enhancement of applying from storage when you're applying from delivery sheets. When you apply from storage, when you enter a ticket and apply it to spot contract, you get the option to apply multiple tickets to the same spot contract. So currently, prior to 21.1 and now, when you enter a ticket on the ticket level and you apply to a spot contract, and then you apply a second ticket to a spot contract, it will pop up and ask you if you want to add to the existing spot contract. That feature did not exist in apply from storage. In 21.1, it now does exactly the same as when you're applying tickets on the ticket level. When you're applying delivery sheets, you have that same feature. So let me show that real quick. I go to apply from storage. and say I take this 800 bushels and apply it to a spot contract, then this is the new feature. This did not pop up before. If there's already a spot contract out there that has not yet been settled for this commodity, for this location, then it'll ask you to add to that existing spot contract. So very consistent with applying tickets. So what this allows you to do is minimize the number of contract numbers that are on your settlement. So if you are going to apply 3 or 4 different delivery sheets to a spot contract and then do a settlement, prior to 21.1, you'd end up with 3 or 4 different spot contract numbers on your settlement. And now you can put them all onto one spot contract number and be a little bit less confusing for your customer. So that is that enhancement. The next one, delivery sheet, ability to filter by shipper ID. I should have used my go button just now, but you go to delivery sheet maintenance and oops, I'm wrong option. Produce a delivery sheet. A new filter has been added here right in the middle of the screen for shipper name ID. So you can produce it, you can include on this delivery sheet all the tickets that are filtered by a specific shipper. Perhaps you want to create a delivery sheet of all of the tickets that were picked up by internal transportation, or if you have external truckers that this might be more relevant to direct haul type shipments. You do a delivery sheet of all the tickets that were picked up by external sources, and or a separate delivery sheet by all the tickets that they delivered themselves. But it allows you to pick from any shipper that you might have and then filter those tickets based on that. Edit multiple tickets is the next button, bullet point here. 2 new columns added when you're editing multiple tickets. Edit multiple tickets. Here's my list of tickets that have been filtered for this name ID. If I scroll all the way to the right, I have, actually, I've already moved them. This column right here, shipment ID, and this column for bill of lading. We have the other reference field on the ticket. Most of our customers have labeled that to be a bill of lading field, but this is a user-defined description. So on your system, it might say something else. Those 2 fields now, if I hit my little cog wheel down here at the bottom and edit grid preferences, those 2 fields, the shipment ID, when you first load the 21.1, these 2 new fields would be at the end of the list. So let me put them back down to where they would normally be when you look at 21.1. So when you first come into the screen, you scroll to the right, you'll see shipment ID and then this other reference field as the last 2 fields on your screen. Like you saw me just do, you can go to the settings here and edit the grid preferences. And if those are 2 fields that are more relevant that you want to be a primary columns in the view when they first come in, you can move those up and move them all the way up to the beginning if you want to. And so now I have those columns wherever I want to on my list of columns. So those 2 new columns are available. And you can then also sort by both of those. So if I click on this, it'll sort descending and sort ascending by those 2 columns. So those are new in 21.1. The next one has to do with delivery DP receipts when you're processing, applying from storage, and creating DP receipts. Both of these next two kind of go together. I'll probably be talking about them both at the same time. Basically what this means is, and if you're not familiar with our attached to system, I'll be explaining that in some form here as well. So if I go into my DP receipt design, delayed price receipt forms, one of the features that we have when you're designing your forms is to specify whether or not you want it to go, whenever you print this form, do you want it to go to our attached to document storage system? And down here at the bottom, create additional copy in a folder. Option D means send it to our document storage, which is attached to. So this form, by setting this to a D, this form is set up to automatically send, whenever I print a DP receipt form, it's going to send it to attached to. And attached to, by being an attached to, that means you can see the forms whenever you're working with those DP receipts. So that form is set up to go to attached to. Now the enhancements here is that when I go in and I apply from storage, say I apply from open storage, and I'm going to apply to delayed price receipt. There's two enhancements here, and I'll show what these are. I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to add to existing receipt. I'm going to create a new one. Before I do this, I'm going to look at my delivery sheet number up here. It's delivery sheet number 6. Okay, so we're creating receipt number 22. DP receipt number 22 for 1,400 bushels. This screen right here has two new enhancements. So this isn't new. You can pick what type of receipt type. You can specify your expected redeemable date. You can put in some remarks. The new enhancements are these. We now have an attached to paperclip here, which means you can, I'm creating DP receipt number 22 right now. And I can attach at the same time, if there's an external document related to this DP receipt, I can attach that right to this document. You can go out if you have a folder of PDFs that you've scanned and you have it, any PDF on your network in a folder that you've scanned to attach to this document, you can choose that PDF form and it attaches it right to this DP receipt, just like any of the other documents throughout the system that are linked to attached to. So I chose that PDF document and it put it in and attached it right to this DP receipt. This PDF is really just a one of my flight schedules, but it obviously would be, in this case, something that's relevant to this DP receipt. So that's one enhancement. That's how attached to works, allowing you to attach external documents, but it also allows you to attach the internal documents, the documents that the AGRIS system automatically creates. So the second enhancement here, and now you see the paperclip is a different color because that shows you that there is an attachment to this DP receipt. If it wasn't green or this color like this, that means there's no attachments yet. The second enhancement is this. When I click OK, and I have a DP receipt form set up, it'll allow me to print that DP receipt right now. Prior to 21.1, you would create the DP receipt and then you go to a different menu option to actually print it, but you can print it at the same time. So here I printed it to the screen, but you can print it to the printer, obviously. But at the same time, then it also goes and behind the scenes, it attached that document to that DP receipt as well. So by applying from open storage, it automatically sends your documents that you print and attaches it to that DP receipt. Now to show this, again, I'm going to go into delivery sheet maintenance after the fact here to look at that delivery sheet that we just put into DP. So this delivery sheet is on DP receipt 22. And when I click OK here, now I see a DP receipt 22. It might be multiple delivery sheets on this same DP receipt. But again, you can see the little attach to button down here, which you wouldn't have had that before 21.1. You click on that, and now you see the two different attachments. You see the external one that we manually attached, and you see the one that the AGRIS system automatically attached, because that's the way you have your form set up. And this is the same way that attach to works with all of the documents already throughout the system. It's just that DP receipts never had this feature. Now it has the same features as contract forms, invoice forms, ticket forms, every place else that works with attached to. And even in here, when you're editing a delivery sheet, if you want to reprint that DP receipt, you click OK, you get the reprint option again. So I can say, yeah, I can reprint when I'm applying to the DP receipt, or I can reprint the DP receipt when I'm in delivery sheet maintenance. Or you can reprint the DP receipt like you've always had the ability to do in, actually I forgot where it is. Here it is, delivery sheet report, delayed price receipt forms. So you can prior to 21.1, this was the only place you could print DP receipt. And this is all of this that I just showed is exactly the same for storage receipts, warehouse receipts, and DP receipts. It's not just DP receipts. It's all three of them. Storage receipts, warehouse receipts, DP receipts. Prior to this, actually, warehouse receipts and DP receipts. This is a report. For warehouse receipts and DP receipts prior to 21.1, this was the only place you could print those forms. But now for both of those, you can print them either in delivery sheet maintenance or when you're applying from storage. That covers both of these bullets, added options to print during the process and put it into attached to. So both of those features were covered in what we just went over. All right, the next one, contracting, added the ability to extend deferred dates of contracts. This feature, again, is expanding on an existing menu option that we had. In contracts, we had a menu option here that says price multiple contracts. The title of this menu option has been changed a little bit. Now it says edit/price multiple contracts. And basically what it's allowing you to do is if you have a customer, let's say they might have multiple contracts, let's say it has 5 or 6 contracts that have been set to be deferred to be paid on December 1st. And now they change their mind, they want it to be deferred on January 1st. Prior to 21.1, you would go into each one of those contracts one at a time and change the deferred date on each one of those contracts. What this enhancement allows you to do is choose all 6 of those contracts all at once and have it update the new deferred date on all 6 of those without having to edit them one at a time. Same way with sign status. If you want to set the sign status on multiple contracts all at the same time, you don't have to edit each one at a time. You can do it from here now. I go into this menu option. All of this over here is the same as what it was before, but you now have these 3 fields over here too. I can specify the apply name ID, and like I said, I want to pull up all of the contracts that this person has deferred out to 12/1/21. 12/1/21. And then it'll ask me, what do you want to change it to? So this is the filter criteria. It's going to find all of the contracts for this person. And I want to change that to jump to January 1st of 22. And I want to set the sign status to yes, let's say. I can also include a settlement discount. So because I'm changing my deferred date from December to January, I might need to include a little bit of additional interest for those extra days. So now it shows a yes, I've included an additional settlement discount. So if I click OK, so this, again, this is the contracts it's going to find. This is what you're going to add to those contracts. Click OK. In this case, it only found one contract. So let me back up and take this date off. Do the same thing. So he has 3 contracts out there. 2 of them already have a data of already have been extended to 1/1 in some of my testings before this, but he has 3 contracts out here, but I can say I don't want to change that one, but I do want to change these 2. If he had 6 or 7 contracts, you can pick and choose which ones you want to update. So imagine he has 7 or 8 contracts and you want to change the sign status on some of them. Prior to this, you'd have to edit each one, but you come in here and you pick and choose which ones you update in the sign status and then continue. It'll tell you it's going to update those 2 contracts and you click OK and it's done. And it updated the sign status or the deferred payment date on each one of those contracts that you specified. These last 2 have to do with, in a few minutes, I'm going to talk about the communications module and how we've got an interface to R.J. O'Brien's Harvest Hedge contracting system. And Harvest pushes contract updates and new contracts to AGRIS through our web service interface. And whenever we make enhancements to our communications and web service offerings, we also, to be consistent, we include those same enhancements in our file imports as well. So these 2 have to do with our interfaces that we built with R.J. O'Brien's Harvest Hedge, but they're also available now for when you're doing file imports of contracts. What the first one was that if you have a contract that's already canceled and you're trying to do a pricing on that contract through the imports, it will reject now and tell you that that's already canceled, as opposed to splitting the contract or trying to update the contract when it's already canceled. And the second one is that if you have an inactive name ID and you're importing some changes to contracts for an inactive name ID, it would reject prior to 21.1, but now it will allow you to update a contract even though he's an inactive name ID. It won't allow you to create new contracts, but it will allow you to update and cancel existing contracts because he's no longer inactive. He's no longer an active customer. You might want to cancel some contracts, and it will now allow you to do that through our interface with R.J. O'Brien. That is the list of the commodity items. I'm going to jump down to the list of system support items. There's a couple of very important ones in here I want to show. First one is the ability to set up your favorite reports throughout the AGRIS system. This is for any of the report writing areas throughout AGRIS. What this means is that any package, whether they're text-based reports or there are graphic advanced reports, when you go into a report manager, you have multiple different reporting options. And for all of these throughout every package, you can now specify which ones are your favorite reports on a user by user level. So if I go into AP balance reports, and it doesn't matter if they're standard reports or your long list of user-defined reports, some of our customers have a very long list of user-defined reports, but to an individual user, they may only use 2 or 3 of them on an ongoing daily basis. So now you can specify which ones are favorites. If I go in my standard reports here, I have 9 standard reports, but I only ever use this one and this one, let's say, as an example. There's a new button for favorites. So you click favorites, And it allows you to specify, a new column here allows you to specify which ones are my favorites. I want that one as my favorite. I want this one as my favorite. And let's say I want this one as my favorite. Save that. Those are now my favorites. When I get out of here and I come back in now, from now on, every time I come into AP balance reports, standard reports, I see my favorites. And you can see up at the top of the screen in parentheses here that these are my favorite reports. This is not the full list. These are my favorites. I can still get to the full list by clicking this reports button. And I see the full list of reports, the full list of spreadsheets. So I still have availability to get to all the reports. It's just by default, when I come back in every day, I immediately see just my favorites. And at any time, I can click the favorite button again and take one of them off as favorites and set a different one as my favorites. But by default, you'll always see just your favorites. And that's again on any other report writers throughout the system, whether it's the standard or the user-defined reports. I go into user-defined, I have the same capability. The other enhancement in system support area across the system has to do with spooled reports. When I go into spooled reports, I might have many different reports on a daily basis that may have been, let's say you have a nightly report process that puts a lot of reports into your spooled reports. First thing in the morning, you come in and you want to print out some of the reports, then we have a couple of new features here. We have some customers who have many reports from multiple locations, and they actually have a separate report set up for each location and may have the location code as part of the report name, so that each day you come in, you can see and print just your specific reports for your location. So we've added in our filter button here, we've added two new abilities to filter the reports. This identifier column and this description column, you can do a starts with or a contained in on both of those fields. So if you have like the location code as part of the report name, and you click in your location code, then you see only the reports for your specific location that have location code as part of the name. That's just another way to filter down. Or I could use filter and I could say I want any report that has the word contract contained in the name of the report. So that's one new feature. The other new feature is this multiple button. Let's say I come in and I want to print 5 reports, this one and these 3. Prior to 21.1, you'd pick each one, or you'd attempt to filter down and print them all. But now you can hit the multiple button and say, I want that one, I want that one, I want that one, and this one, and one more. And then go ahead and print all of them. Print 5 reports, yes. And tell you what printer you want to go to, and you print all the reports at the same time. You've always had the ability to select all before. If I get out of the multiple, come back in here. This select all was always there before, but that allows you to select everything. This allows you to be selective of which ones you want to print by hitting the multiple and picking the exact reports you want to print, and then click the print or delete button. So you can specify, pick individual reports and delete them all, or pick individual reports and go ahead and print them all. Okay, the last topics have to do with our communications. Communications module, like I mentioned, we have a direct interface now with the RJ O'Brien Harvest Hedge auto hedging system, contract entry and auto hedging. And let me just go into this real quick. went in the wrong area. The new enhancements in this area has to do with this AGRIS/Harvest Hedge integration recap report. And this is more, let me explain this, because this has to do with more than just the Harvest Hedge integration. This has to do with a new concept that we built into the integration that can be used anywhere in the system. And the point that I'm going to get to is having to do with email reports. I'm not sure how many of you utilize our emailing reports capability, but this is a report that we've set up that will check to see, let me just show the report, then I can explain it. So it's a recap report of how the integration is doing today, meaning that multiple sections of the report. Now, and remember, keep in mind that I'm showing this as an example with the Harvest Hedge integration, but this same report concept we can build for any of the reports for any of the areas throughout the system and do auto emailing. So this is a report that shows all the contracts from AGRIS that have been sent to Harvest Hedge on a daily basis. So that's one section. You can show the detail or you show the totals. The next section shows all the contracts that come from Harvest Hedge to AGRIS successfully today. It'll show any examples where contracts came from Harvest Hedge to AGRIS, but something wasn't quite right about it and AGRIS rejected. Maybe the location code was incorrect or the contract was invalid contract number, and it'll show those rejections. Typically, you wouldn't have any rejections. But the purpose of this report is that this report can be emailed to any number of people within the company whenever it finds that there's any rejections of any type, that something has to be done and dealt with. So the purpose of me explaining all of this is, again, if I go to print this report, I've got this report set up. Hold on. I got this report set up to auto email, and it's coming up and telling me that 6 people internally will receive this report whenever it gets emailed. Do I want to send the emails now or not? That's one enhancement. So in any of the reports that you got set up to email to your employees, it'll tell you right away how many emails are going to be sent out, and you could print the report with or without sending the emails. But more importantly, this process of this report can be set up in a report stream to be processed like every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, or you can set it up to be in a auto schedule through the Windows Task Scheduler so that it can be launched every 5 to 10 minutes. And the point here is that prior to 21.1, if you did this, then each of these 6 people would get an email every 5 or 10 minutes just to show them what the status is. But the enhancement that we've done is that the person's only going to get an email. The email is only going to be sent out when there's actually a exception situation that occurs in the report. So now, thinking completely different from Harvest Hedge, think about anywhere throughout the system. If you want us to create a report for you that says, for instance, whenever an inventory balance gets below a certain level, you want it to automatically send out an email to these 3 people in the company, the AGRIS system now has the ability to do that. Prior to 21.1, we could do that already, but they'd get an email every 5 or 10 minutes, and they'd look at the report. No, there's nothing that I need to look at here. But now you only get the email if there's actually something that needs to be reported. And if you're not familiar with our emailing capabilities, all that's set up here under email reports maintenance. So I've got this one Harvest Hedge report set up to automatically email, but the report itself overrides that. So if I print the report, typically it would send an email every time I run it. But the report itself can govern whether an email needs to be sent. So when the report is processing and it determines that there's nothing that needs to be communicated, then it can override and say, don't send the email. And so then the end result is that you only get the email when there is something that needs to be addressed. So again, think of that across the system. There's anywhere in the system that would be useful, that you want to get a notification of anything within the system. If your hedge cash position gets over a certain level, if anything within the system you want to be notified about, we can produce a report for you to do that on a custom by custom basis. And I believe that's the end of all the enhancements, Tracy, unless you want me to discuss or you want to say something about our ComData Smart Solutions point of sale interface as well, which is a new menu option.
Right, we just
that one.
Yes, we have a new fuel interface with a company called ComData, so we'll be able to bring in transactions for that. Hey, Travis, if you want to unmute everyone, if anyone has any questions, I'm going to have Travis unmute you.
I gave Betsy the
certainly ask Dan.
That came from Kendra.
Are there any questions?
Thank you. Yep.
No?
Hey, on the email exception reports,
Yes.
Dan, did you say that build on a custom basis? We build that for the customer?
Yeah, technically the customer could do that. They know how to work with the active reports and design those, but we would, those would be services offerings that we can build those for them.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, that's part of how that report can be designed.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, Dan, there are 2 questions that were sent in, so Travis is going to read those.
Okay.
Potentially, Travis.
I had to unmute, sorry. Yes, we had 2 questions. Technology's a thing. So the first one was, so you can apply from open storage without doing a delivery sheet first? I think that was just clarification back on the application from open storage without deleting.
Yes, you can. That's the enhancement to apply tickets. I can apply from open storage. I can specify open storage and apply that ticket. Oops, sorry.
So if we can do that now, if that just not having the delivery sheet is just part of 20.
Yes, you can apply open storage tickets, but if the open storage ticket's not yet on a delivery sheet. Yes.
Thank you, Dan. And the second question, we don't use DP contracts or DP receipts now, but what are the differences between the two, or how or what do you use them for?
That's a big question. The differences are DP contracts are when you have a contracted amount of how much DP you want the customer to bring in. DP receipts are typically, then other customers use these things for different things. Typically, that's what it's designed to be for, but they can be used for different reasons. So that's typically what it was designed for. If you have a set amount of storage that you want to use on a customer by customer basis and contract them for how much DP they're going to bring in, that's typically the purpose of having a DP contract. A DP receipt is made once the actual loads have arrived. So they've already delivered and you have everything, and you do a DP receipt, much like a warehouse receipt, so that you can verify that this amount is what he has. So he has a document to show that he has this amount in storage in DP. They both are very similar. They both have forms capabilities, but the DP receipt is more of, you don't know how much they're going to bring in. They just keep adding to existing receipts. It's almost like adding to spot contracts. You keep creating more and more, and either putting on new receipts or adding to existing DP receipts. The difference between DP receipt and DP, it's very, very similar as far as the functionality and the navigation. The DP receipt allows you to section it into different receipt numbers and actual physical documents.
Okay.
Thanks, Dan. I'll unmute everybody again.
Yeah.
But like I said, there's a lot of other capabilities and reasons that our customers use the DP receipts, and actually our customers probably better equipped to answer those questions.
Getting the web page to come up.
We're doing it as if it's.
Are there any other questions?
Yeah. Where it sounds like.
Okay. So let's do the reboots tonight.
Okay.
right.
And then I'll check on those.
Okay, I think there's aren't any other
So
questions.
it shouldn't be big version upgrade, but I'll check on those tonight.
We appreciate you
And
all
then
attending
keypad,
and have a great day.
I should be at this conference.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you. Take care.